On a cool spring night in September 2012, the streets of Melbourne were calm. It was just after midnight in the suburb of Brunswick, a lively strip of bars, restaurants, and late-night lights. 29-year-old Jill Maher had been out with colleagues. Originally from Ireland, she had built a life in Australia. She was intelligent, warm, and recently married. That night, she left a bar on Sydney Road and began the short walk home to her husband, a walk she had done many times before. Security cameras would later capture the final public moments of her life. Jill is seen speaking briefly with a man outside a bridal shop. The conversation appears calm, almost casual. After a short exchange, she turns and walks away, heading north along Sydney Road. She never made it home. When her husband awoke and realized she wasn't there, concern quickly turned to panic. He reported her missing, and within hours police launched a major search operation. CCTV images were released to the public. Melbourne watched the grainy footage over and over again, trying to understand what had happened in those final minutes. The man seen speaking with Jill was identified as Adrian Bailey, a repeat violent offender who was on parole at the time. As investigators pieced together the timeline, a devastating truth emerged. Bailey had followed Jill, attacked her, and murdered her. Days later, her body was discovered in a shallow grave north of Melbourne. The news sent shockwaves through Australia. Thousands gathered in Brunswick for a candlelight vigil. Strangers stood shoulder to shoulder, holding candles and grieving for a woman many had never met. Flowers covered the street where she was last seen. The city wasn't just mourning Jill, it was mourning a sense of safety. In court, Bailey pleaded guilty to rape and murder. In 2013, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, with a minimum of 35 years before being eligible for parole. Public outrage grew over the fact that he had been released on parole despite a violent criminal history. The case triggered major reviews and reforms of Victoria's parole system, changing laws to prevent similar failures in the future. More than a decade later, Jill Maher's name is still remembered in Melbourne, not just as a victim, but as a symbol of community strength and the demand for justice. One ordinary walk home changed a city forever.